Tiberius was a member of the Claudian family, connected by blood. His father in the beginning supported Julius Caesar during the Civil War, but then switched his allegiance to his enemies. He became the enemy of the state and of the new ruler of Rome, the grandnephew of Caesar Octavian. Tiberius the Elder, alongside his wife Livia Drusilla and their 2-year-old son Tiberius, had to flee Rome when Octavian entered the city victorious. In a strike of mercy, and also wanting peace and stability for his new empire, Octavian gave amnesty to a lot of his old enemies, including Tiberius's family. Having returned to Rome, Tiberius the Elder and Livia divorced, and Livia married Octavian, the same man that chased them from the city years before. At this point, Octavian's power was so great that he is recognized as the first emperor of Rome. The reason for this, at first sight, such a strange marriage union was, among other things, to create the political union with the old noble families, which Octavian so desperately wanted. He was the sole heir of Caesar. However, his humble background made him look as a member of the middle class of ancient Rome by the other noble families. The young Tiberius and his brother Drusus, who by some gossips might have been Octavian's son, born out of a fair before he married his mother Livia, but legally they were both his stepsons, joined them in their new living arrangements. Both stepsons, when they came of age, joined the military. Tiberius proved himself to be a capable soldier, especially when he fought successfully against the Parthians. When Octavian decided to name his heir, he decided to adopt his new grandsons, Gaius and Lucius, sons of his daughter from the previous marriage named Julia. Livia made her son Tiberius divorce his wife Vespania, whom he loved deeply, to marry his stepsister Julia, which would place him in the succession line to be the new ruler of Rome. Tiberius did not seem to have such high political ambition. He was stuck in a lawless marriage, and after the death of his brother, who he loved, he decided to retire in the prime of his life to the island of Rhodes. After Octavian tried to stop him, Tiberius protested by starving himself for 4 days. Finally, when he was allowed to leave, he enjoyed his newly found freedom greatly. He studied Greek philosophy and poetry, picked up a fascination with astrology, and many more new hobbies. In Rome, Octavian was made aware of his daughter's Julia's fondness of enjoying company of other men, and he decided to send her to a small island near the coast of Italy as a sort of exile for 5 years. He also allowed Tiberius to divorce her. Tiberius returned to Rome, but still showed no political ambitions. In the meantime, Octavian's official heirs, his grandsons Gaius and Lucius, both died on a campaign with the Roman army. A century later, Roman historian Tacitus hinted that Tiberius's mother Livia might have contributed to those strategies one way or the other. Octavian considered making his third grandson Agrippa Postumus his heir, but soon changed his mind and banished him from Rome. Two different Roman historians have two different explanations for such action by Octavian. Tacitus claimed it was Livia who manipulated Octavian in banishing him. However, more likely to be closer to the truth was the other source claiming that he had bestiality nature, whatever that means. In either case, soon after Octavian died, Agrippa's guard stopped him and put an end to that succession option. Who gave the order was never clear. With all other possible heirs out of the way, Tiberius became second Roman emperor after Octavian's death in 14 AD. Once in office, Tiberius still showed almost disinterest in being an emperor. He refused to be voted the title Augustus by the Senate, and might have considered dividing imperial powers between two other men. He also did not mind public criticism, at least at the beginning. He despised all form of flattery, refused to allow any statues and building to be built in his honor without his permission. The following years saw some animosity with his mother Livia, who saw herself solely responsible for him becoming an emperor, and as such wanted to gather power for herself. She died in 29 AD, and Tiberius refused to see her in her last days on her deathbed. Tiberius was required to adopt his nephew Germanicus, his late brother's son. Germanicus was very popular amongst the soldiers and public alike. After Germanicus' mysterious death in Egypt, all eyes looked in Tiberius' direction. Close friend of Tiberius, governor of Syria, Gnaeus Piso, and his wife were put on trial. The case against the accused was less than convincing, relying mainly on evidence that Piso and his wife dabbled in sorcery. However, Roman people demanded revenge. After his own wife turned against him, Gnaeus Piso decided to take his own life before the verdict was reached. Tiberius' friendship with Piso, alongside accusation of Germanicus' widow, Agrippina, made Tiberius a suspect in the eyes of the public, making the emperor more and more paranoid. He developed a dependency on Sejanus, his right-hand man and member of a Praetorian Guard. After the death of Tiberius' only son Drusus, some believe he was poisoned by Sejanus, in an effort to one day be able to marry Drusus' widow Livilla, Tiberius' niece, with whom Sejanus was having an affair. Sejanus was not allowed to marry Livilla. However, he used the existing paranoia of Tiberius to isolate him from the rest of his family. He orchestrated the hunt of the Agrippina's allies, placing blame on Tiberius. Tiberius was living on the island of Capri since 26 AD, giving Sejanus possibilities to gain more power in Rome, which he did. It is said that Tiberius enjoyed a lifestyle of absolute decadency, from orgies to sadism and torturing. The time he was open to accepting a public criticism has long been gone. Tiberius tricked Sejanus into coming into Senate, where he believed Tiberius will name him the heir. However, in the letter he sent, Tiberius denounced him and asked for him to be arrested immediately, later to be executed. Agrippina, exiled on an island near the coast, Drusus, Germanicus' older son, in prison, Tiberius decided to name his grandson Gemellus and Germanicus' younger son Caligula as his heirs, believing Caligula will kill Gemellus, and he was right about that. One account goes that Tiberius had this to say about his young heir: "I'm nursing a viper in Rome's bosom." Once Tiberius was dead, Caligula was almost immediately proclaimed emperor. When word of his death reached Rome, the city erupted into weeks of unrestrained celebration.